I asked you guys on a community post about some past teams you've used, and I gotta say, some of these were amazing. However, there is one in particular that really caught my eye, and it comes from Holy Roller with their Pokemon Pearl team. Today, I wanted to showcase this in-game team for Pearl, because I'll tell ya, it was a ride to look at. If you want a chance to have your team featured on here, leave it down in the comments below. I may pick it. Note that it'll be completely random, even if it has an insane amount of upvotes. Before we begin, Luna's World Lo-Fi. I got some new tracks over there you guys might like. I'm also working on a book involving this character, so check that out if you're interested. So I will leave that in the description below. Anywho though, what really got me attached to this team from the get-go was definitely the fact it didn't have a starter Pokemon. Teams that don't have a starter are much different than the usual teams I talk about on this channel, because so many players use their starters on their teams, including myself. Sometimes I even consider my teams incomplete without a starter, to be honest. Holy Roller's quote-unquote starter Pokemon though was Bibarel. Bibarel in the Pokemon community is a humongous meme within itself, with its pre-evolution even being referred to as a Pokemon god. Bibarel, in my opinion, is actually kind of useful, because with the water typing it possesses, it gets access to some neat water stab, and even coverage if you're looking to run it specially with Ice Beam. Bibarel has been on a variety of teams on this channel before, even on the worst team. Using mons like this is always fun though. If I had to guess the moveset, I would have to assume something like Surf, Waterfall, Ice Beam, maybe even Rock Smash, Return. It is an HM slave after all, and could even be considered as a Cynthia Garchomp killer with Ice Beam. I hope it helped out against Flint and his fire-type Lopunny though. The next member is a Pokemon that is pretty notorious in the VGC scene, who even took a world championship approximately 10 years ago. Pachirisu is such an adorable Pokemon no matter what form of media you see it in. In-game though, I gotta imagine this little electric rodent must have been a hell of a lot of fun to run. You catch it pretty early on in the game, and this is just one of those mons where you really have to enjoy the challenge aspect of it. This thing's stats and move pull make me want to pull my hair out, but Roller obviously is very daring, and that's why his team also got chosen. Pachirisu was probably useful, at least somewhat, against Crasher Wake at the very least. What's cool too is that Pachirisu also gets Grass Knot, so the Quagsire problem is at least out of the way. Pachirisu, funny enough, gets Dig as well. I would find it super hilarious if Roller used Dig against Volkner or something. I don't know, Pachirisu is such a comedic and adorable Pokemon that it just makes any Pokemon team come to life. It's actually became one of my favorite electric types pretty fast. If I had to guess a moveset, maybe something along the lines of Spark, Dig, Grass Knot, or Thunder Wave? Spark is going to be your best electric stab, Dig obviously for coverage, Grass Knot for your Quagsire problem, and Thunder Wave to cripple opponents and to make Pokemon easier to catch. If I am close to what its moveset actually was, let me know down below. Wrapping up the first half of Roller's team, we have one of my favorite bug types of all time, and definitely probably one of the most fun members on this team, Dustox. According to Roller, it was one of the highlights, and you will definitely see why in just a second. Dustox is notoriously known for being bad, but that hasn't stopped lovers of this beautiful bug, like me, from using it. It's captured at an early enough time, and it evolves super early as well. Just make sure you have a Cascoon. Now what really has me rolling is the moveset that was used. I've never seen such a unique and interesting set before. You would think something like Bug Buzz, right? I thought so originally, because I always thought Dustox had higher special attack than physical attack, but I was actually wrong. Both attacks are base 50, so you can run whatever you want, and that's exactly what this bold player did. U-turn, Psychic, Toxic, and Protect. Pivoting out with U-turn, Psychic for coverage, Toxic for stalling, and Protect to be an even bigger NPC troller. This moveset literally proves you can play Pokemon however you want and still win. I don't know where this moveset was the most fun to use, but definitely let me know down below. I would love to hear about this awesome experience. Starting the second half of the team, we have what looks to be the team's flyer. And no, it's not Staraptor, to everyone's dismay who absolutely loves when I talk about this Maverick on this channel. It's the opposite of Staraptor actually, being Noctowl. I believe you capture Hoothoot in the Eterna Forest and it evolves in the Noctowl at level 20. I think at this point in time, you all are starting to see a theme here with this team. It's stacked with Mons that are considered not the most optimal. And as a worst team enthusiast, I love it. I would actually say at this point, this could be the worst team for Sinnoh Remastered. Noctowl actually being one of the better ones on this team. At least Noctowl gets Air Slash at level 32, so it isn't stuck using physical attacks for the majority of the game. Noctowl also has some psychic attacks it can run too. You might have used Zen Headbutt, considering Psychic was already used. Game Corner stuff is pretty tedious to grind, but I guess with the VS Seeker, it is easier in this gen. I've never seen Noctowl with Silverwind though, so I hope you used that. Anywho though, for the moveset you used, considering how interesting the Dustox one was, I'm gonna have to guess Air Slash, Zen Headbutt, Substitute, and Shadow Ball? Noctowl is kind of underrated for in-game means. I know I've always enjoyed using it in past playthroughs for sure. At the penultimate spot of the team, we have a Fossilmon. And no, it's not Rampardos, it's Bastiodon. Bastiodon is a defensive behemoth, and not a mon I typically like to use in Sinnoh runs, but I do love the fact that someone else would. I'm not sure how much time you put into finding the fossil for it, but I will just say it takes dedication to use a mon like this. Although, considering the team, I guess defense like this could be pretty useful. Its offenses, though, are just... wow. It's got a lot of options going for it move-wise, I can at least say that. Heck, even coverage-wise it has a lot going for it. Hear me out, okay? I think an Ancient Power set could be super fun to use, especially to power up those quote-unquote offenses it has. Then, for coverage, you could practically use whatever you want. Flamethrower, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt. It's actually stupid crazy that this fossil monster actually even gets all these moves. I can see this mon being pretty useful against a plethora of the gym leaders with its massive defenses. The moveset, I would guess, well honestly, it could be anything. With how this team has gone so far, this could be the wackiest Bastiodon set I've ever seen. The last member of this team is, in my opinion, one of Sinnoh's biggest celebrities and memes ever, Rapidash. Yeah, Diamond and Pearl has no fire options aside from this, and it's funny and sad at the same time. In Diamond and Pearl, the Rapidash line doesn't get a physical fire attack until level 58, being Flare Blitz, so it has to use fire special attacks for stab instead. What's an even bigger slap to the face is that Flame Wheel is an egg move. It just really seems like Game Freak wanted players to use Infernape, especially with Rapidash being shafted this bad. Luckily, Rapidash still has a base special attack of 80 at the very least, so Flamethrower will hit for at least decent damage. Or, if you like power over accuracy, Fire Blast can also be great. Rapidash also has access to Poison Jab and Mega Horn via Mover Learner, so it gets good physical coverage, but it lacks stab. I question what Game Freak was doing when they made this decision. Regardless, Rapidash isn't all that bad for a Sinnoh run. Heck, I even remember a time when I had a level 100 Rapidash and it swept the entire Elite Four with it. In Platinum, however, they did give Rapidash at least some redeeming factors. The biggest one is learning Flame Wheel at level 15. Well, that's gonna wrap up this very interesting and intricate team for Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. These mons looked like a lot of fun to use, especially with options such as Bastiodon and Pachirisu. The move pulls that were available on some of these Pokemon definitely make me want to pull my hair out. But at the same time, using the worst team for Sinnoh Remastered sounds like a fun time. And in some cases, I would actually consider it better than the original worst team I created a while back. And when I mean better, I obviously mean crappier. My favorite member of this team was definitely Dustox and the moveset that was provided. I absolutely love it, and I can only imagine how stally it must have been to toxic those mons down the size. What about you guys though? Do you have a favorite member of Holy Roller's team? Do you have a team you would like me to showcase next time? Let me know the answers to both those questions down in the comment section below. But with that said, I will see you guys really soon.